Hello students. So let us see the remaining topics on the chapter 4 dividend decision. So in this video I'm going to cover the following topics or contents. Following first one, advantages and disadvantages of stock dividend, 6 marks or 14 marks question. Types of dividend policy, again 6 marks or 14 marks question. Legal aspects and financial aspects of dividend policy, 6 marks question. And last one, dividend theories, 14 marks question. So let us see the first topic, that is advantages and disadvantages of the stock dividend. So before going to the advantages and disadvantages, so already the meaning of stock dividend has been explained in the previous video under the topic called as forms of dividend. So stock dividend is also called as scrip dividend when the company is not having the sufficient cash balance or the liquidity position, then they're going to issue the dividend in the form of stock or the shares to their shareholders. So the stock dividend is nothing but issuing of additional shares to the existing shareholders in the absence or in the replacement of the cash. So let us see what are the advantages of stock dividend to the issuing company. So first one, whenever the company issuing the stock dividend to the shareholders, then the market for its shares will be expanded or be increased, because the number of shares has been increased or it has been developed. So whenever the number of shares has been increased, definitely the market of the company will also be expanded or be widened. So that is the first advantages of the stock dividend to the issuing company. Second one, whenever the company is issuing the stock dividend, definitely there will be a growth and the expansion for the issuing company, because they are going to add the number of shares to their shares or number of shares to the company. So definitely there will be growth as well as the expansion. And whenever the company is issuing the stock dividend, they're not issuing the dividend or they're not paying the dividend in the form of cash. Rather than the cash, just they're going to issue the stock. So they're going to retain the cash or the liquidity portion. So that amount can be invested in the any project or any asset. So definitely there will be growth as well as the expansion. Next, third one, the cost of issue is minimum, because whenever the company is issuing the stock dividend, that shares will be issued to the existing shareholders, not for the new shareholders or the stakeholders. So they're just concentrating on the existing shareholders. So the cost of issue of the stock dividend will be minimum, because of they're concentrating only for the existing shareholders, not to the stakeholders. Next, fourth one, it proves to be a remedy for the undercapitalization. So undercapitalization is nothing but the company is not having the efficient capital or sufficient capital to meet their expenditure. So in that time, the stock dividend will be helpful for the issuing company. Next, fifth one, it satisfies the shareholders and in turn it affects the its effect is in its market value of the shares. So whenever the company is issuing the stock dividend, it will have the benefit for both the parties, either for the shareholders as well as it for the issuing company. Because the shareholders, rather than getting the loss, they're getting the amount in the form of script or the shares. So the shareholders will also be satisfied. Again, the company will also increase the market value of the shares also. Next, the credit standing of the company in the market increases if the company issues the bonus shares. So these are the advantages of issuing the stock dividend to the issuing company. Next, let us see what are the advantages of stock dividend to the shareholders. So first one, it increases the income of the shareholders as they get extra dividend on extra shares held by them. So whenever the company has issued the script or the shares to the existing shareholders, and in the future, whenever the company is paying the dividend in the form of cash, the company is not only paying the dividend for the vote as well as for the extra shares also. So here the company or sorry the shareholders will also get the extra benefit in the form of extra dividend. So second point or the second advantage is the marketability of the shares will also increase. So the price earning per share will also be increase. So it will also be benefit for the shareholders because they're going to, for an example, before issuing the stock dividend, the shares held by the Mr. A is 10,000. Now, the share after issuing this stock dividend or the scrip dividend, the shares has been increased to 12,000 or the 13,000. So here, the shareholders is not selling the 10,000 shares, he is also having the benefit of selling the 13,000 shares. So it will be benefit for the shareholders. And last advantage, the demand for the shares goes up as many people are interested to buy the shares of the company that issues bonus shares. So even the demand will also be goes up because when the company is offering the stock or when the company is offering the shares to the shareholders, if the shareholders shows the benefit, it is nothing but the company will have the reputation or goodwill. Then on the shareholders will show their interest to buy the shares. So in such a case, the expectation of the shareholders is that the share value of the company will be grown. So they are going to get the dividend in the form of stock dividend. Next, disadvantages of stock dividend to the issuing company. So first point, if the company issue bonus shares, it is obliged to issue additional dividend for the additional shares issued, and this has to commensurate with the earning capacity. So here, the disadvantages for the issuing company is that whenever they are paying the dividend in the form of cash, they are supposed to pay for the both the shares, that is for the existing shares as well as for the additional or the bonus shares. So it will be burden or the extra burden for the issuing company, and it will also impact on the earning capacity, means it is decreasing the profitability of the company. Second, it prevents the new investors from becoming the shareholders of the company because whenever the company is issuing the stock dividend or scrip dividend, they are only concentrating on the existing shareholders, not for the new shareholders. So the persons who have already purchased the shares, they only have the benefit or they can enjoy the benefit of getting the extra shares. But the new shareholders cannot get the benefit of investing the amount in the company. Next, third disadvantage is the control over the management of the company is not diluted, and the present management may misuse its portion because they're just issuing the shares to the existing shareholders, not to the new shareholders. So the control of the management will be kept only for the existing shareholders, and it will not be distributed to the new shareholders. So that control portion may be misused by the person who have holding the number of shares or the more number of shares. Next, disadvantages of stock dividend to the shareholders. The first one, the rate of dividend on enlarged capital comes down, as a result of which the shareholders may receive a little less than before. And second disadvantage is the shareholders desirous of receiving cash dividends may get disappointed because they are not getting the dividend in the form of cash but in the form of shares. So these are the disadvantages of stock dividend to the shareholders. Next, we'll see the important topic that is for 14 marks question, types of dividend policy. So dividend policy we have already discussed in the previous video. That is nothing but when the company want to pay the dividend to their shareholders from their profit, so they need to frame the policy, and that policy will be framed by the decision which has been taken by the board of directors. So dividend policy is nothing but it's a frame of rules and regulations which has been set by the board of directors or the management, taking the decision that how much of profit has to be distributed in the form of dividend to the shareholders and how much of profit has to be retained by the business in order to meet the expenditure. So that rules and regulations or the policies which have been taken by the management or the board of directors will be called as dividend policy. So there are different types of dividend policy. First one, regular dividend policy. So the regular dividend policy is nothing but the name only says the dividend will be paid on a regular basis. Means the payment of dividend at the usual rate is termed as regular dividend. The investment or the investors such as retired persons, widows, and other economical weaker persons prefer to get the regular dividend. Means the percentage of dividend will not be fluctuate whether the profit is increased or profit has been decreased. The same percentage of dividend will be issued to the shareholders. So mainly this type of dividend will be preferred by the persons, either it may be weaker persons or it may be widows or it may be retired persons, because they need to get the regular income. So they are going to depend upon the regular dividend policy. And there are some advantages of the regular dividend policy. First one, it creates confidence among the shareholders, because whenever the company is having, or when the company is having the profit or the loss, they're supposed to pay the regular or the certain percentage of dividend to the shareholders. So when the company is paying the regular or the same rate of percentage to the shareholders, then the shareholders will have the confidence that if they invest the extra amount also, they're going to get the same rate of interest or the same rate of dividend. So it creates the confidence among the shareholders to invest the amount in the company. Second, the shareholders views dividend as a source of funds to meet their day-to-day expenses. So already in the above that we have discussed that this type of dividend policy will be preferred by the retired persons, widows, and the economical weaker persons. So these persons, they are mainly depend upon the income, because in order to meet their day-to-day expenses. So when they are getting the regular dividend policy, so it will be beneficial for the shareholders to meet their day-to-day expenses. Third one, it stabilizes the market value of the shares. And last one, it establishes the profitable record of the company. So these are the different advantages which will be get when they're following the regular dividend policy for the both for the shareholders as well as for the company. Second, we have stable dividend policy. So the regular dividend policy and the stable dividend policy will look same, but the meaning is different. So in the regular dividend policy, the payment of dividend at a usual rate is termed as regular dividend. Means fixed rate of dividend will be paid. But in the stable dividend policy, certain amount, that is, this means consistency in the stream of dividend payment. It means payment of certain amount of dividend regularly. So in the regular dividend policy, they are fixing the rate of dividend. But in this stable dividend policy, they are just fixing the amount of dividend which has to be paid to the shareholders. So that's why it is called a stable dividend policy. Not in the form of rate, but in the form of amount. A stable dividend policy may take any of the following forms. So first one, constant dividend per share. So if you observe, the meaning says that the dividend will be paid on the basis of per share. So the number of shares which has been owned by the shareholders, based upon that they're going to pay the dividend, not at the fixed rate or percentage of the profit. So constant dividend per share is nothing but this means the stream of dividend payment. If means payment of certain amount of dividend regularly, a stable dividend. It refers to a policy where the companies pay fixed dividend per share irrespective of level of earnings year after year. So here the dividend has been paid based upon the share, not based upon the profit earned by the company. Means how many number of shares they have owed. So based upon that, the company will pay the dividend. Second, constant payout ratio. So it refers to the payment of a fixed percentage of net earnings as dividend every year. The amount of dividend fluctuates directly with the earnings of the company. So they have clearly mentioned that it's in constant payout ratio. So it is nothing but they're going to pay the fixed percentage of net earnings. That is nothing but after minusing the tax amount, whatever the amount the company is going to earn. From that, the percentage or fixed percentage of dividend will be paid to the shareholders. So the earnings may be increased or it may be decreased, but the fixed rate will be given or fixed rate of dividend will be paid. So that is called as constant payout ratio. And last one, stable rupee dividend plus extra dividend. So this refers to policy where the company declares low constant dividend and in the year of profit pay extra dividend. Means when the company is earning the low amount of profit, so in such a time, what the company will do, they are going to pay the stable, means minimum amount they are going to pay to the shareholders. And when the company is earning the huge amount of profit or more amount of profit, in such a case, the company is paying the extra amount of the dividend to the shareholders. So that's the meaning called as, or the word says, stable dividend or stable rupee dividend plus extra dividend. Means when the company is having the lower income or lower profit, they're going to pay the stable amount or the same amount of dividend. But when the company is earning the more end amount of profit, then they're going to pay the extra dividend to the shareholders. So these are the different forms of stable dividend policy. Next, that is, a stable dividend policy provides advantages both to the investors and the company are as follows. So let us see what are the advantages of providing the stable dividends for the both parties, that is for investors as well as for the company. So first advantage, it creates confidence among the investors because they are going to get the stable dividend or the same amount of dividend whether the company is in a profitable or whether the company is in a loss. That is the first advantage. Second one, it provides the source of livelihood to those investors who view dividend as a source of funds to meet day-to-day expenses, even it is similar to the regular dividend. So the person is going to depend upon the income like dividend to meet day-to-day expenses, then definitely it will be helpful for such shareholders. Third one, a stable dividend policy assures the investor certain payment of dividend, which is an indication of the bright future of the company. So when the company has promised that they're going to pay the stable or the same amount of dividend or certain amount of dividend on a regular basis or on a stable basis, so it's showing that the company is having the bright future or the good future to the company in the future. So that is the third advantages. Fourth one, stability of dividend helps the company to raise additional funds easily through the issue of debentures and the preference shares. And fifth one, the stability of dividend seems to interest needs of the institutional investors, as these investors are interested in investing those companies which follow a stable dividend policy, because most of the shareholders they have the interest to invest on the money or the interest invest on the company which is going to offer the stable dividend. So that is the advantages. Because of that, the company may get the extra investment. Next, stable dividend policy results in rise in the share value of the company. So ultimately, when the company is paying the stable dividend or the constant dividend, definitely the investment will be increased. So when the investment will be increased, definitely the share value of the company will also be increased. Next, it results in a continuous flow to the national income stream and thus helps in stabilization of national economy. So not only in the form of, or not only in the beneficial of the company, but also in the beneficial of the national economy also, because they're going to provide the stable dividend to the shareholders. So because of the stable dividend or because of that income, the day-to-day expenses of the shareholders can be met. So when they are meeting their day-to-day expenses, when they are purchasing the requirements which they want, definitely it will have the impact on the national economy too, indirectly, not in the direct form, but in the indirect form. Last one, state dividend or stable dividend policy is the sign of continued and normal operations of the economy. So already this point has been explained in the previous point. So these are the different or the advantages of stable dividend policy for the investors as well as for the company. Next, we have the third category or the third type of dividend policy called as irregular dividend policy. So the name only suggests that the dividend will not be paid on a regular basis. It will be paid on a irregular basis. Nothing but when the company is in profitable, they're going to pay the dividend. When the company is in a loss position or they don't have the sufficient cash position or liquidity position, they're not paying the dividend to the shareholders. So that is called as irregular dividend policy. So this policy will be followed by the company or as follows. First one, uncertainty of earnings, unsuccessful business operations, and lack of liquid resources. So due to these reasons, the company will follow the irregular dividend policy. Means when the company having the profitable or the cash portion, they're going to pay the dividend. When the company is not having the sufficient cash portion or the profitable portion, then they are not paying the dividend to the shareholders. And last one, no dividend policy. So the company is not going to pay the dividend to the shareholders. So a company will follow this policy when there is an unfavorable working capital position or lack of funds for future expansion and growth. So working capital is nothing but they should have the current assets that is in the form of cash. So when the company is not having the sufficient cash balance or the working capital not to meet to the day-to-day expenses, definitely they are not paying the dividend to the shareholders. So that type of policy will be called as no dividend policy. And apart from this policies, they have there are another policy called a split out. So split out is nothing but the shares value will be divided because in order to increase the number of shares. Means when the company has issued the share at the value of rupees 10 and they can follow the policy that rather than issuing the one share for 10 rupees, they are going to split the or they're going to divide the shares into per share of rupees 5. So they are going to issue the two shares for same value. So that is called a split out policy. So even that policy can be adopted by the company in order to earn the dividend or in order to receive the dividend. Next, we have that is called as aspects of dividend policy. So whenever the company want to frame or whenever the company want to take the action or in order to decide the action regarding the rules and regulations or the policies regarding the dividend, they need to take into consideration of legal as well as the financial aspects. So there is a chance of asking for 6 marks question because this question has been asked in the previous question paper too. So first aspect that is called as legal aspect. So legal aspect is nothing but whenever the company is framing the dividend policy, they need to take the rules and regulations of the certain acts as well as the law. So they have clearly mentioned that the dividend policy of the firm has to evolve within the legal framework and the restrictions. The directors are not legally compelled to declare dividends. Fourth, the Indian Companies Act provides that dividends shall be declared or paid only out of the current profit or past profit after providing the depreciation. So they have clearly mentioned that whenever the company is framing or they are preparing the dividend policy, they need to clearly check it out what conditions which has been specified in the act that is called as Indian Companies Act. So in the Companies Act, they have clearly mentioned that the dividend has to be paid to the shareholders after decreasing the or after minusing the depreciation amount on the assets that is called as fixed asset. Next, however, the central government is empowered to allow any company to pay dividend for any financial year out of profits of the company without providing for depreciation. So there are different law or different act and rules and regulations of the government which has to be followed by the company whenever they are forming the dividend policy. And second important one, financial aspect means when the company want to frame or when the company want to prepare the dividend policy, they need to consider the financial aspect. That is whether the company having the profitable portion or whether the company in a position to meet their working capital to raise the capital from the others or to raise the additional capital from the additional shares. So they need to take into consideration of that and after consideration regarding the financial aspect, then they need to frame the dividend policy. So that is, it is not only the desire of the shareholders but also future financial requirements of the company that have to be taken into consideration. Means whether they need to pay the entire amount to the shareholders in the form of dividend or whether they need to retain some part of profit as a retained earnings in order to meet the future expenses. So all such conditions or all such aspects has to be taken by the company when they're framing the dividend policy. So while making a dividend decision, the management of concern has to reconcile the conflicting interest of the shareholders and those of the company's financial needs. So if a company has highly profitable investment opportunities, it can convince the shareholders of the need for limitation of dividend to increase the future earnings and establish its financial position. So even the financial aspect has to be considered by the company when they're framing the dividend policy.